Welcome to Beyond Borders, the podcast where we explore inspiring stories and experiences from people who cross boundaries, be it cultural, physical, or personal. I'm your host, Najera Balindong, but you may call me Naji, and joining me today is your co-host, Miss Yara Moner. Hello, partner. How are you feeling?
Hi Naji, I'm feeling okay today. Actually, I'm very excited with the podcast and I'm looking forward to meeting our guest speakers.
Oh, that's very true because we have a very exciting and intriguing guest right now. We have an exciting episode featuring exchange students who have embraced new cultures and adventures. So, without any further ado, let's dive into their journey of adaptation, growth, and discovery. So, stay tuned for insights, laughs, and valuable advice. Let's get started.
So our audience might be wondering, why did they choose this topic? How will this podcast help us? We have my co-host Naji here who will be answering those questions.
Miss Yara is very right because, since Marinaos are not commonly part of exchange programs, we decided to look into the experiences of exchange students in hopes of sharing the knowledge with gain to help aspiring exchange students too in the future. So, with the help of our podcast, we're hoping that at some point we would influence and help young Moros to decide to go for the opportunity if it's there. And thankfully, with the help of our connections, we were able to find qualified resource speakers who are more than willing enough to help us achieve our very objective. So, let's all welcome the one and only Miss Sohaylah Manabilang. She is currently first year college in MSU Maine, taking Bachelor of Arts in Literary and Cultural Studies, and she's 19 years of age. So thank you so much, Ate Sohaylah, for guesting our show today. How are you?
Hello, I am fine. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm looking forward to sharing my knowledge and experiences when I was in the States. So yeah, I'm really excited.
Okay, so we are too very excited because our group collectively decided to choose this topic because it's also part of our interest and we really wanted to know. So we decided to look for a primary person we could interview so we could not only help us feed our curiosity but also our viewers.
Yes.
So let's start.
So, Ate, what exactly made you decide to become an exchange student and was your family the major catalyst or were they hindering this interest of yours or this opportunity?
Actually, it was never part of my plan to be an exchange student. But then, way back in my school, in junior high school, which is
Yeah.
Sohaylah. So there were people who had a history of being an exchange student, and then it was during pandemic when I saw the online application, and then it was just out of boredom when I applied.
So it was you saw it in Facebook, Ate?
Yeah, just in Facebook. So like, there's this girl and guy from Akik who posted about their experience and like listing down all their experiences when they were in the States. So I was curious, and then suddenly I saw it on my feed, in my Facebook feed, and then actually my cousin saw it, and then she told me that, hey, so how baka you're interested in applying for this because sabi niya parang I see you being there also. So I was like, might as well give it a try. And I did. So again, it was out of boredom, so I wasn't really expecting for acceptance really. Singapore boredom din. So then until I think month passed, and then the result came out,
Yeah.
which was for the regionals.
Oh,
So parang
Ate, wait. We just also want to ask: is it really true that for fighting for the slot, is it really that competitive?
it is very competitive. So like there were a lot of young Moros who are aware of this exchange program,
yeah.
right? And then they applied, of course,
Yeah.
because it's an opportunity and it's fully funded. So everybody was fighting for it.
Even
really.
for the transportation.
Everything is funded, right?
Oh.
So yeah, and then there were a bunch of young Maranaos who applied for it, and then
Ate, for the transportation na, were you provided or were you told to bring your guardians with you so on the transportation abroad, or
Oh, no.
it's just you?
no. What do you mean? Like, did the program shoulder the
Expenses of the parents, guardians. For
Oh, no.
example, if they want to join you.
Oh no,
No.
guardians are not allowed to go there actually. So that's why it's very very complicated to apply in there because since we were minors back then,
Mhm, yeah.
So,
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
we had to go through a lot of application process to see if we are of course qualified in the program, right? But then we're not allowed to bring anybody with us, especially parents. And but then the money or the transportation for the exchange student who's going to abroad will be free. It's fully covered. So yeah,
For the entire year.
entire year for the entire academic year.
We want to ask for the sponsorship. Does it also include your pocket money or your
wondering
monthly allowance
Yeah, that's
in
really
there?
fun actually because out of boredom I got a lot of experiences and opportunities open for me, right? So like the money, it was a fully funded program, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
the Department of State, America, is providing for this scholarship. So like, we have a monthly allowance for that. So it really depends on if you're going to bring money going to States. But then really you don't have to worry about that because everything is fully covered from foods, accommodations, and stuff.
How about you, partner? It seems like you have a question.
I'm still wondering how her family reacted to this opportunity and her interest in it.
My natural family, me.
Yeah.
So they were fine about it actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, so it was not the usual family where
Yeah.
your parents and the whole clan was against your decision.
No. I mean, some of the relatives told my mom that she cannot.
It's a bad idea.
Yeah, she cannot go abroad, especially if it's America.
Exactly, because she's a woman.
Yeah, she's a woman, and knowing Maranao
Yeah, culture.
So like, you cannot just let your daughter go abroad for a year. Yeah, without knowing who are these people na parang darat na niya doon. So.
Oh, so they're chill about it.
Yeah, my family, my
Oh,
parents, they're
they're
fine.
chill
They're
about
actually
it.
really excited about the experience.
Oh my gosh, that's so. That's another point of view because we kind of expected since both of the hosts right now that they're also aspiring exchange students, but
we're
yeah, since we were I think high school, we really wanted to participate in it, but
Fortunately,
our parents are very vocal. They're so against it because
That's
we're
very normal,
girls and we
yeah.
can't go there.
That's the normal situations actually. The parents are against the decisions of their kids, but then luckily my parents are very much open about this experience, and I'm so happy about that. That's actually the perks of having let's just have a segue topic. But then my
Yeah.
parents, both of them, they're not
Yeah.
professionals. They weren't able to finish college. So like it's I think an eye opener for them to let their kids experience
Yeah.
new experiences that they weren't able to experience, of course. So that's probably the very reason why they allowed me to go abroad. Of course, to give me the experiences that they won't be able to give me.
Yeah,
here in the
exactly.
Philippines.
It's because our parents always wanted the best for us.
Best for us. So they
so-
think that me. So yeah.
Oh, man, that's so heartwarming. So, Ate, another question. What's your first impression when you first landed in Indiana, right?
Actually, Indiana was not my first stop.
Stop?
Yeah, so it
Oh.
was a connecting flight when we went abroad. So first, like, we stopped in Manila.
Yeah.
Because that was during pandemic, so like we had to take vaccination.
Oh, so the process was really
Yeah.
tiring, right?
Yeah.
You also have to take 7 days quarantine, no?
Yeah, we have to. So like
Oh.
that's like post pandemic, but then still
They're so strict, eh.
Yeah. So we had to stay in Manila, and then alhamdulillah, I tested negative COVID for COVID.
alhamdulillah.
And my other, the other exchange student, I mean. And then we traveled to Qatar. That's our
Qatar.
layover.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was not a one
Yeah,
trip.
it was not.
It was a series of them.
Yeah, that was a lot of
So
travels,
it
actually.
took how many days, ate, for you to arrive in Indiana?
I think 30 hours, I think. Because the travel to Qatar from Manila is, I think, 9 hours. And then we had to stay there for 10 hours. We have 10 hours layover.
Okay.
And then after 10 hours layover or rest in Qatar, then we'll ride another airplane to go to Washington, D.C. That's in America, right?
Yeah, in
So we
US.
stayed in Washington, D.C. for, orientations and stuff, and then I traveled to Chicago. This is me going to my host family.
Oh, yeah.
So like,
Oh, so your host family lives in Chicago.
no. So there is an airport in Chicago that I had to go through para hindi na ako mag-travel by land. So
Oh,
it was all airplane.
airplane,
Yeah.
by air, para wala ng ride.
Yeah, para hindi longer yung
Travel.
Kasi it was really tiring. And then, yeah, Chicago and then Chicago to Indiana. So that's where I met my host family na.
Okay, your host family. Now, about there's stigmatization on or kind of fear on host families because the media, the media portrays the US people, or some of them are very extremists and they cannot be trusted, or like they have that different way of living, so that for a woman and even a Moro to go there, who's where a Muslim go there, that's actually a huge risk.
It was.
Considering that you're still not an adult that time, you're still a teenager. So how was your host family?
I find it funny because they're actually really nice. They're the most genuine people I've ever met. Actually, shout out to my family, right? So
You may shout out to them at the right
yeah, but
now.
then it was actually very complicated for me, right?
Yeah.
Because I had a temporary family before I met my permanent host family. So at first, my first host family were Muslims, so it was not tough adjustment.
Yeah, exactly. Oh.
So they're from Kashmir. It's
Kashmir in
India.
India,
or
I think it was in the boundary of Yemen and somewhere in Middle East.
So they're Asians.
Yeah.
They're very kind, and because they're Muslims, of course. So I didn't have a lot of adjustments, of course, especially with the foods, and they didn't have pets or like dogs, because of course they're Muslims. And then after I guess 3 months, I was transferred to another
Family.
No. A temporary host family.
Is there any reason for the
Change.
No, yeah, but those are confidential. But then
Okay.
yeah, but then like I had no problems with them.
The
So it's
former
just that-
family.
Yeah, it's just that they had to look for the permanent host family that will host me. So temporarily, I had to settle with the previous 2 host families
Yeah.
I was with. So I stayed for my second host family were Americans, and Kate Miller and Jason Miller. So
Kate Miller and Miss
Yeah,
Mrs. or Miss
Mrs.
Kate Miller and Mr.
Yeah. So they were a great couple, and
Do they have a child?
Yeah, they do. They have Christian and Imran. Yeah.
Both boys,
No, they're boy and girl.
boy and girl, and they're kids, or
They're
are they
kids. I'm their ate.
Oh,
So I
oh,
stayed in their house for I think 1 week, and then finally I was transferred to my permanent host family, which is the ladies. They're the best.
lady.
And then that's where I stayed and remained for the entire duration of the program.
Well, for those foster families, did they have to qualify for something? So
Yeah, they had to. They went through a lot of application also to meet the.
So it was a voluntary work. They really want
It was purely
to.
voluntary. They're not paid.
They're not paid. They
They're
just
not.
wanted to help.
Yeah, and
exchange
then,
students.
Yeah, in fact, they had to provide for some, like they had to provide for meals at least and other stuff. So it was purely voluntary.
Okay, so Ate, let's move on to the exciting part probably because this is us kind of comparing the education system here in the Philippines and in Indiana. So, Ate, the question is, how is the education system here different from Indiana?
Very different. So much different, actually. We are working tirelessly here in the Philippines. Like,
Oh,
really.
exactly.
We go to school at 7 a.m., right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes
not even
earlier.
7 a.m. Earlier than that because school starts at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And at 5:30.
Yeah.
But then in America, classes there starts at 9 a.m. at least. And then ends at 3:30
3:30 p.m.
p.m. Yeah.
So early.
It was really early. So that was a culture shock for me, of course, because I'm like, hindi ganito yung setup sa Philippines.
Exactly,
Yeah,
because how about that sa mga paperworks? Do they have a lot of written works?
They're very lenient, actually. They're the best. They have the best education system. But then, you know what, like when you go to the States or when you participate in exchange programs, especially, like they see you as genius, especially for coming from Asian countries.
Asian countries, yes,
Yes.
because we have established that
Yeah, so like
image.
that's how they see Asian kids. They're very genius and stuff.
They're good in math. They're good in solving.
I wasn't good in math. I'm terrible in math. Anyway, so like yeah, we go to school at 9 a.m. and the school starts at 9 a.m. and then ends at 3:30, and then the load of works are actually very light. Like honestly, teachers there are very considerate that, you know, like when you tell them that I cannot do this anymore, stuff like my mental health is being affected, stuff like that.
So they care a lot about mental health.
Yeah.
They're so
They're not
so open.
stressing out their students. So like when you fail a test, there is another test for you. So, ang lalabas lang yung
second
lumabas.
chance.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
That's
they're
interesting.
really working hard on, you know, pulling your grades up para walang may iwan.
So, parang the teachers serve there as real teachers and not just doing their
Yes,
profession.
actually.
They just really care about the students, no?
Yeah. And then actually it was really fun for me because I was so used to having loads of
Works, yeah.
So like
We don't have time to
my classmates
break.
would tend to say that you're finished already, and I'm like, yeah, because
I have nothing else to do. What do you mean?
what
It's
do you mean?
different.
It's just an essay. I can submit that literally the date was given, right?
Exactly.
And they're like, really? So that's a privilege for me coming from the Philippines, actually.
Yeah.
But Ate, around your initial weeks in school there, have you ever felt out of place?
Of course, I
Yeah, I was also
have.
curious.
Yeah, of course. Especially that I never took off my job, so I
yeah.
was carrying with me my
The crown.
identity. Yeah, and Islam identity, of course, because that's the purpose of the program.
Exactly.
To show who you are.
Yeah, the different cultures, varieties
to bring your
culture.
culture outside the country. So I was first feeling left out, of course, in the campus because my school is really huge, like huge school. Yeah, and then but then luckily the people in there, especially the teachers, the guidance counselor I had, was very nice and you know lenient for me, and then he looked for friends for me. So
Oh.
yeah, so it was,
They interfered so you could have your friends.
yeah. So like he would, during my first days, he would come with me in my classes and then introduce me. This is Sohaylah, she's an exchange student and stuff, so it would be nice if you make her feel welcome and stuff. So people would start approaching you and asking you, so you'd become lunch buddies, you'd become blockmates. So that's how I built friendship in the school.
In the school.
Yeah.
Okay. Here at them. Did you notice something surprising in terms of your impression with the place in Indiana? What stood out in your POV? That's something very surprising coming from these people.
It was cornfield. So yeah.
The
So
field.
my first impression was, of course, I landed first in Washington DC, right?
Yeah.
So I saw skyscrapers and
Yeah, a lot of buildings.
So
That was not possible.
this
That was
is
not
really
here.
America, because this is what I see in
And-
televisions
And the media.
The media.
And it's so different here in
And
Marawi.
here comes that I went to my host community, which is in Indiana, in South Bend, Indiana specifically. And then during our travel there, I see lots of cornfields, and I'm like, where are the buildings?
So it was in the countryside.
It was in the countryside.
Just
Our
countryside.
house, at least our house. But then if you travel down the town, then there are buildings in
There are buildings,
then
but
our
it was not the
house-
capital city,
Yeah.
Is Indiana a city ate, or is it a country?
It's a state.
It's a state. One of the states in US. No.
Yes, yeah, it's a state. So yeah, that was a culture shock for me, because I was looking for the presence of the buildings. And I'm like, gusto ko pang bumalik sa Manila kung dito lang. Ganito lang yung view.
You're a city girl ate, no?
Actually, I'm not, but then I was.
You want
my
to experience something.
The expectation killed me. I'm like, the tall buildings that I saw when I was in Washington D.C. So, yeah, that's one of the culture shocks I had.
Ate, I want to ask about extracurricular activities. Now, are they more focused on that, or are they more on the written works?
Very much focused on the extracurricular. Actually, it's balanced.
Balanced,
Yeah.
Ate, okay, this is on part on the expectations and realities there. So, although there's already a point where we could touch that topic, and we also want to know more what were your expectations and the realities that you face there. Is there some hard truth, or parang other side of the world, other side of the story that the world doesn't know yet, and you wanted to tell us?
Okay, so I think it would be the stereotype with the Americans that they're bullies, and we kind of like talked about it earlier. So like I was really afraid going there, because
Yeah.
I thought that enrolling in an American school
Yeah.
would be hard for me, especially that I'm Muslim and I'm wearing hijab. So
Yes.
I was thinking that I would experience being thrown at, or
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Because
like,
the bullies on the
Yeah.
movies.
the extreme bullies
Yeah.
that we see in the movies.
Yeah.
So that was bad representation of Americans. And
Oh,
I
it's
was like,
just all in the
they
media.
are the sweetest people I've ever met.
Ate, how did you choose the country for your program, and what advice would you give to others making this decision?
Actually, I didn't choose myself the country that I would go to. There were two options for us to apply. So the other program is Asia Kakihashi program, which is in Japan.
Yeah.
And then the KLES is in
Philippines.
USA.
US. Okay.
Yeah. So I can apply for the Asia Kakihashi, of course, because I don't know how to speak Nihongo. That's their language, right? So that's their basic requirement.
Ate, your requirement is you have to speak Japanese.
If you're going to apply
That is
for
so
the Asia
sudden,
Kakihashi.
like at a young age, learning how to speak.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like they have to make sure that the students who are going to participate are really
Not
genuine,
fluent,
or
not fluent, but then at least you know the basic. But as for me, in my case, I don't know that, so I applied automatically for the KLES, which is
Yeah.
in USA.
because English is easier for
But
us.
if you knew Japanese, would you have
I would have applied for the
Exactly.
Because I love Japan so much. Anyway, so I choose. I of course chose America because I don't know how to speak Nihongo to choose Japan. And then the follow-up question was what advice I could give to
Aspiring.
aspiring exchange students, right?
Yeah.
Probably take the risk because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah.
And then once you're old, or like you're not 18 below, you're not what's this?
We're going to look back and the
you're
experience.
not eligible already to apply for KLES.
Yeah.
So that's if you're going to apply to KLES. because exchange programs are actually for minors.
Exactly. There's age
Yeah,
restrictions.
there is an age restriction. So that's why if you ever think of applying for an exchange program or like studying abroad and you have the opportunity to do so, then might as well grab it because
It's fully funded.
Yeah.
You just your time and effort you're going
yeah,
to.
and then the experience is really life changing, and it's something that will never ever be erased in your mind. That you'll
Yeah.
never ever cherish, and then
You get to meet a lot of people, no?
Yeah,
New
like,
people. It was not just a pen pal. Like, you know what? I've met Americans, you know?
yeah, and it's a lifelong opportunity. I mean, experience for you, and then you get to bond with other people. You get to meet other people, and then engage or socialize with diverse culture. So that's one thing that is very fun about being an exchange student. So if you're thinking to be an exchange student, then might as well grab the opportunity because I guarantee you it's going to be a very, very fun experience and full of lessons and wisdoms that we'll acquire once you get back onto your natural country.
Okay, so since we noticed that you are really enthusiastic about the experience
Yeah.
for others also to pursue this, right? Now, we want to ask, how has this exchange program, this experience, helped you grow personally and academically?
Of course, it helped me to grow personally because I went there and I was really dependent with my parents, knowing that.
Yeah, since we're adolescents, yeah.
Millennials are very dependent with their family, and then
Yeah.
the fact that you're going to other part of the world,
Other side of the
other
world,
side
and
of
you
the
don't
world,
see them.
and then you won't see your family for at least a year. That's a big challenge and a risk already. So but then
It helped you become more independent, right?
yeah, I found myself growing while I was in there, like in a way that I became more independent. I was able to handle problems by my own, and then I had to practice time management.
Yeah.
All those things that I never thought of being, at.
You also get to manage your own money, right?
Yeah,
Because
so that's a
the
challenge.
allowance is given to you
Yes,
directly.
directly, yeah.
It's not on the host family.
No.
It's just you, so you have to
Yeah.
balance your money.
Yeah, so that's also a challenge for me. But then luckily, because I don't have to spend much money on extravagance because really everything's provided by my host family. They're really nice. That
They also treat you with food and clothes.
of course, my host family are so genuine that at the end of the day, I got to save my own money, my
And you just have to save it because they're providing everything.
yeah. So, what was the follow up question about that?
This ate, if you could time travel, what advice would you give your past self about the exchange experience?
I think I would tell myself to seize the moment and just enjoy everything, every single thing, and I would have, I would tell myself to capture every moment because
Yeah, you didn't document
I
everything, no.
did, but then I think it's lacking.
Oh, it's lacking something.
Yeah, so I was more focused on experiencing it by my own, and then I lack of documenting things that I have experienced in there because I was thinking that good memories are left and photographed or
Exactly.
and captured. Then when I came back here, it was like, oh, it's so sad that
Was it so fast for you? Like
was
the
so fast,
year?
actually, but so fast that I couldn't keep track of time. I was like, seems like yesterday I
Yeah.
traveled from Manila to
Yeah, it was a
and now
culture
I'm
shock
going
because
back
you're
home.
traveling alone. You have other people, but
Yeah, I was
not your
traveling with other
parents.
exchange students. So yeah, that's I think something that I would have told myself to do when I was in the States.
Is that the only thing you regret not doing?
Yeah, but then luckily my permanent host family, the Legigs, they were kind enough to. I didn't know that my host mom is actually taking pictures of me every
Oh,
single time.
as in, it was so heartwarming.
Yeah, and they actually gave me an album.
Album of a collection of your photos.
Honestly, yeah, candid and pictures
Just funny
that were
photos,
taken.
natural
Yeah,
taken.
every single experience that I had. And I didn't know that my host mom was taking pictures of me. And then like my first time trying going in a chocolate factory,
Oh.
visiting their company, and all those experiences.
Ah, they have a company.
They have a company, so I went there, and then she was just randomly taking pictures of me. That's really smart of her. To do that.
Exactly, because you were not aware.
Yeah, and then
So
when
it was
last
just
year, I had the album. It was a gift when I had my farewell party.
yeah, yeah.
So when I saw it, I was like, oh my god!
Yeah.
I was able to take pictures. I have this album.
Exactly,
So,
like it was just full of
through
you.
and- Yeah, so that's really fun. I love my host mom so much, and I thank her so sweet. She is the sweetest person ever. I love her so much. Her name is Allison, by the way.
Allison. Shout out to Mrs.
I will show her
Allison.
this podcast.
Yeah. Hello, Miss Alice. Mrs. Allison.
Yeah.
Okay.
My dad too. The entire lady family. They're amazing.
Hello, guys. We have Ate Sohaylah right now. We're interviewing her.
Yeah.
Ate, about homesickness. We also want to tackle about homesickness.
Yes.
And we know that you felt homesick. Did you ever cry?
I did.
Like late at night and you're missing them and you want to talk to your mom?
That was during my times in my first host family. That's where I really felt the homesickness because the hardest part is when you get sick.
Yeah.
We knew that when we get sick here,
Exactly.
our mom is very caring and
On hands on.
yeah. So I couldn't tell my host family that I'm sick.
Because you're shy. Yeah.
That's tough. So I had to deal with that. And then like whenever I have mens, so
Menstruations.
the dysmenorrhea and stuff. So I had to endure that by my own. When way back here in the Philippines, my mom would take good care of me and give me medications for that. Then I was so shy to tell my host family about that. So like I was.
About the napkin thing, ate, no?
No, I
Hindi.
brought a lot.
Ah, you brought a lot. Just in case. I don't want to ask them.
Yeah. So like that's a lot of adjustment for me, and every day I miss my family. But then I was like, this is my decision. Nobody told me to go here, so I have to.
I have to take
cope up.
accountability.
Yeah. But then later on, I was able to adapt with the environment.
Since ate, we're already on the topic of your host family, and we're also curious, very curious, even probably the audience, the viewers, what's the religion of your host family, the lady's family? What's their religion?
Oh, they are devoted Christians.
Oh, they're Christians, so
They're Christians. So that's I think one of the challenges also for me to deal with that I'm a Muslim and they're Christians. So
because you have different
the
religion.
difference of our religion is
Did they adjust or did any since both parties did to adjust because you have different
had
beliefs,
to,
right?
of course. But then they were so respectful about my religion, and that was not a problem actually, because they're actually the ones who are reminding me. They were reminding
Of
me
yours.
wearing my hijab and like keep practicing your faith. because,
Exactly.
You went here, that
Oh.
you're Muslim, and then
Understand.
you have to come back home that you're also Muslim. So, like the fun thing is that my host brother Christopher, I was talking to him one time, and then I was like, Chris, what if I go to school without my hijab? What would you do? He was like, I will be so mad at you. I will tell your program that they should send you back home because you are
Removed your job.
killing your religion.
Exactly.
The essence of the program now. So I was like, oh, that's so sweet of you to consider my
Yeah.
have the same faith. So he was like, of course, because that is the purpose of the program, to show Islam or religion.
Different religion, a culture
They
of
were really
background.
respectful of my religion, and I was respectful of their religion also.
Did your host family force you to do something you don't want to?
Oh, never.
They never did.
They will.
Or was there ever any instance they told you to do this, but you're kind of not? No, I don't want to do that.
They will always ask for my permission, and if something's okay for me or if something's bothering me, because I don't know, they're just so genuine and they're so nice and everything is like just going smoothly. They would ask me every time that, hey, are you uncomfortable about this and stuff. So like for example, going to their church. So
Yeah.
like when
You've also entered the church because they're Christians, right?
yeah, so they're devoted Christians, right? And then they have a church that
Yeah.
they go to every Sundays. So since I'm an exchange student, I have to like have this sense of volunteering, right? I have to at least
Volunteer.
100 hours. Yeah. So in the church, like every time the service is going on, the service, that's what they call their prayer. So, like, that's where they start the sermon
Pray.
and stuff. So like I would take care of babies
Oh.
in the basement.
Oh.
Yeah, while their parents are doing the
Praying, service.
So that's kind of like part of my volunteering hours. So I go to the church, but then I'm still wearing my hijab.
Your hijab. You did.
Representing that I'm
Yeah,
Muslim,
exactly.
yeah.
That doesn't mean that you're Muslim, so we can't
Yeah.
enter there and help them to.
Yeah. So like the niya, or the intention is just to volunteer.
Exactly.
But then not necessarily that I have to replace my
Exactly.
And then my host family were so open about that they're like, yeah, it's fine if you go to the church wearing your hijab, it's okay. Nothing's wrong with that. So that was a good adjustment for me, and I didn't have hard time with that.
Okay, I have a question since we have a whole family there, right? So meaning there's Mr. Ladybird, right? So how did you cope up with the idea that there's a guy in the house who's not your mahram?
So the guys
Is it hard?
where my mother's dad,
And Christopher, right?
yeah, Christopher, Gabe, and Levi. So they're all younger.
Yeah.
And I'm their ate in the house. So they were so considerate again of my religion. So like every time visitors would come, they would tell me they're going to run in my room. They're like,
Yeah.
so there are visitors, you have to wear your hijab.
Hijab, yeah, because they're gonna see your hair.
Because they're young. So I was thinking, my intention is like, these people are younger than me. So,
Yeah.
I hope there was no fitna because
Exactly.
because they're younger,
Younger.
and I'm older, and then their intention is like I'm their sister,
Yeah.
their sister, they're my siblings also.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my dad, he is fine with that.
Oh.
Yeah, it was not hard for me really.
Shout out, by the way, to the Ladigs family. Sorry for mispronouncing your last name. Do you still connect to them up until now?
Up until
Do they
of course.
talk to them?
Yeah. So my siblings, not really, because they don't have social media. I told you they're young, so they still don't have their social media accounts. But then one of them, Emma, my sister, who's sister, she has.
Are they not active FB users?
No,
Oh.
because my host family, my host parents won't let them use social media at a young age, of course. So like whenever we wanted to communicate, I would just like chat my mom, and then my mom would relay the message to them.
Yeah.
So like up until now, we have communication. And they're very nice to still provide for me. They're helping me with
Finances. Oh, they're also giving you allowances up until now?
Up until now, yeah.
Oh, mashallah.
Yeah, I love
They're
you,
so
Mom.
kind.
I wanted to bring that up because she knows, they know that life here in the Philippines is kind of tough, and they know that sometimes we struggle with finances.
Finances, yeah.
Just
Now they're also trying to even though
Like
it's not,
burden.
it's not their responsibility, but it's just out of volunteerism that they wanted to help you.
That's how nice they were. I mean, even not to me, even like they have this organization, I don't know, I forgot the name, but then like they sent help to families in Africa and other parts of the world. They provide finances to them. They help in any way possible they could. So they applied it to me apparently.
Because they consider you already as their child.
Yeah, so luckily they're still helping me out with all my problems, and we still have communication, and I love that. That's one thing that I'm very thankful of, because we were able to maintain the bond.
The bridge of
Yeah.
connection.
So, Ate, have they ever visited you here, or have you ever seen them again after returning here in the Philippines?
No, not yet. I just came back home 2023. So, not yet, not yet. I hope they will, Mom, Dad, try to visit me here in the Philippines, or at least let me visit America again.
That was just Ate telling you guys. Shout out to the lady's family. She wanted you to visit here.
Yeah, I would love them to visit here. But my dad, he knows Philippines already. Except for my siblings and my mom.
Yeah.
Because they never have traveled here in the Philippines.
So Ate, let's divert to the personal questions now. We weren't able to ask it, bring this up earlier. We were just so caught up in the conversations. We wanted to ask, way back there, since we're already done with your host family, we wanted to ask your personal or friendship relationships, platonic relationships that you've had in Indiana. Have you ever had a crush, or did anyone stand out to you way back there?
We had to talk about this anyway. What if marinig? And no, like there were, but then I have to maintain the composure and the Islamic perspective that I have to maintain,
Yes.
right? But then, of course, you could not deny the fact that you will have crushes.
Exactly.
Americans are so fine.
Oh,
They are really
they're
fine,
good looking.
especially Black Americans. Oh my God, they're so fine.
And even their accents, just like what you've mentioned earlier.
Yeah. I just love them. I love them so much. Americans as a whole, they're yeah, but no, I never had a boyfriend. No.
Of course, no. How about at your? Do you have any best friends way back there?
Yeah, I had one. Her name is. I had actually a lot of friends in there. Then my best friend would have to be my host cousin.
Oh.
Yeah. Sophie, host cousins actually. Sophie, Annie, Kate, and others. So they're like my safe zone. Even though we don't go to the same school because they're homeschooled.
Oh, they're homes.
Yeah.
Is homeschooling prevalent in America? Oh, it is. So it's okay for you to just you don't have to go to school. You just have to
Yeah, most of my cousins are homeschooled actually. It's just our household, like the kids in the house are going to school, like the ladies in our house, my siblings.
because there's a social media representation of American schools being a zone of shootings. Is it true?
Yeah.
Shootings
It happens, but it never happened.
in your host school?
Yeah, never.
It never happened there.
Yeah. But other states, I hear news that says that
They're shooting, school shootings.
Yeah, so luckily I never experienced that. Our school is safe. Penn
yeah.
High School. Shout out Penn High School.
Oh, it was in Penn High School. And to officially end this interview from Beyond Borders, we have one last question to our very respected guest, which is Ate Sohay. What do you feel right now after reminiscing everything from start to bottom about your exchange experience in Indiana with the YES program?
First, I would like to thank you guys for inviting me with your podcast and giving me the opportunity to share my experience when I was in the States. So I feel very happy, nostalgic, of course, euphoria, if that's how you say it. Because of course, not every day I get the chance to talk with people that are curious with what I have experienced back in state. And looking back, I feel like I am one of those people, kids, Moro, young Branao, who are privileged enough to have
Experience
that kind of experience to be a young ambassador and representing not only the Maranao culture and Marawi, but
The whole Philippines.
as a whole. So it's like taking me back to my times in America that I feel so proud of myself because I was able to represent my country in a very good way, and I was able to become a role model of the Philippines, like, having the feedbacks from Americans saying that, oh, so how we couldn't, let you
Get
leave
more people to
us.
know
Yeah.
more about the Philippines.
Yeah, so like at first they were saying that, where's Philippines? We don't know Philippines.
Exactly.
And then later on they say that, oh, I'd love to go to Philippines. I want to try balot. I want to try all
everything.
because of you. So that is actually an implication that I at least had an impact in their lives. That I served as a good role model.
I mean, the major purpose of the exchange program.
So like the cultural exchange was fun, and it was full of learnings and wisdoms, and I will forever ever be grateful with that
The experience. Okay, probably Philippines is also proud to have you as their one of their ambassadors
Yeah.
because you did a great job. Okay, so one last ate was just an impression for you. What do you think of our podcast Beyond Borders, and should we pursue it more?
Oh my god, this podcast is amazing. It's just amazing. I've never seen young kids doing this thing. Like you're just grade 11, right?
Yes, po.
And I was shocked when I got the invitation actually because I was thinking that Zêñ is just grade 11 and they're already doing podcasts. It's a good platform actually to, raise awareness and stuff. So especially that we're living in a,
Very-
completely social media life.
Exactly.
So like people would see this, and I hope they get inspired
To,
with
yes,
your
hopefully.
podcast and the contents of your podcast, because this is amazing and I love it so much because I get to share my experience, and not only that, because people would hear inspiring stories from your podcast.
Yeah.
So I hope you pursue this, and I can't wait to see you successful in your channel, being visited by different people, and I would also suggest my whole family to watch and listen to your podcast.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, so that they could, reminisce my time with them also. So thank you so much for this podcast. I think it's amazing.
Okay. Thank you so much to Ate. Once again, that was Naji and Yara, your hosts in Beyond Borders. Guesting with us is Ate Sohaylah Manabilang. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. That's all from Beyond Borders.